Oh, hi everyone, we're back. I hope you had a good snack and a break.
Yeah.
Toolin, it looks like Toolin's having a snack time as well. Did Bright ever eat that banana, or is she still holding on to it?
Well, she ate it as
Okay.
long as once the identify checked out, she ate it.
Oh, alright, sure. What'd you do with the banana peel?
She still has that. She's looking around for garbage can,
Okay.
kind of awkwardly.
No, there's a fireplace. I don't know if that...
Perhaps not.
Make the
Mean,
repentless eat it.
meanwhile, it's actually just a magical fire, and the banana peel just sits there rotting in magical fire because it doesn't burn it. A couple days later, what's that smell? Before we get too further started here, especially if you're new, I want to take you on a quick journey about what, or rather where, the characters are. A while back ago, and not that I don't appreciate the story that we've run, but the split with the desert to me is a very memorable time, and the Repentless looked like this. It was a standard issue, like a small. It carried like 25 Shadowheart soldiers. It had like a little like a hull in the bottom where they, it was just sort of like benches where they sat. It just was like a lighter going from area to area. Encountered it as a remote scouting ship in the desert, made of wood and metal. It did have those weird kind of metal donuts on it that were then proven to be the engines of these airships powered by undead, and some weird interface. How are they controlled? That was a part of the mystery of the desert, which I believe was eventually solved and figured out. Over the course of that adventure, which included Mordecai, Celine, and Selter, the ship was heavily damaged. And so we had this nice Shadowheart little scout ship turn into the Maw. The hull kind of like split, and it took on this vague, like, forward-facing horns, kind of a darker. I don't know whatever would look like that. But yeah, so then it turned into this somewhat of a wreck, but there was something more to it. You heard the paint the lines, cut the men. There was that weird little eyeball as well that showed up in the wall that the professor noticed during that conversation and then kind of disappeared. Not that the professor ever had an eyeball under his skin, at least not that he's revealed. But, things
Can
happen.
confirm I have not.
And further, then the Maw ended up turning into Repentless, like, Generation 1, or I don't know how we would want to mark it or signify it. But after sort of fusing with a purple worm and several bullets out in the Aslandian desert, it then turned into a slightly larger ship. It had more of this integration of biomass, but it was still recognizable as a vessel, just with some trappings of flesh. Well, then this happened, and now it's a giant, abomination with, trappings of a ship. The most recognizable part of it is, at least up here, this ship that it was just being eaten, getting slowly sucked down into it, to form into more Repentless. And I just want to say I love the I love this Selter up here. Just that charge. Meat's back on the menu, boys.
Eat and eggs. We eat.
So you can see over the course of time that things had gone on. Now, in fairness to the party, the last time they saw the ship was when it looked like the prior. So the Repentless has done a lot of growing. There's now a mansion on the back of it. It's very large, and it as we had picked up hints or learned, it fuels itself by consuming the crews that are there. They get pulled into the.
Mordecai's nightmare.
But you could be a part of a living legacy.
Well,
You
little
are
too literally. Little too literal.
So this is the ship that the Chroma Company is on. I don't want to say crewing because they're here out of morbid curiosity, and well, we'll see if anything ends up keeping them here. But this is where they're at. Selter had grown them some kind of a an accommodation so that they could stay comfortably. Because while the ship might look kind of gross and fleshy, this mansion was very tidy. It was very clean. And to make sure that it was driven home, while there are trappings of Mesotopian decor and ship design, there was a lot of Shadowhar accoutrement, art, and ships that have gone in here. So Selter's been a busy girl, but maybe you don't mind as much the fact that she's probably mostly only eaten Shadowhar forces. You know, it's like, well, sure, you killed 10 people, but, you know, you spared the one. You know, you speak French, they asked for mercy, and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird, and you let them go. So here we are, the exterior of the ship. Through the window was still this kind of vibrant sunset crimson and purple. And there is a lot of this ambient green light all throughout. However, you are back in a very stately parlor. Luxury furniture. Fireplace going. And you are being served by DJ the Minotaur Bard, whom Norelai, Bright, and Mordecai met. Boy, feels like years now. Yeah. And technically has, although for your own recognition, it doesn't feel like that. Your own like cognitive.
Feels like a couple months.
Yeah.
A couple months or a couple millennia, whichever.
Yeah. Yeah, Bright, your personal experience in hell was really... I mean, time really didn't mean anything to you at that point, so...
Yeah. So, have you ever seen, like, Groundhog Day? Like, is there any way to tell, like, how long you've been in there? Because that's kind of how it is for me.
Well, if you trust Selter, she said 2 years.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was longer than that for me.
Oh, probably. But it's difficult to know when you don't have to eat, sleep, breathe, have bodily functions. You might get lost in your own thoughts for times on end.
Bride, I haven't seen you in 50 years. Well, I haven't seen you in 100,000 years.
Well, at the same time, everyone also had their own experiences. Like, Mordecai is just like, I went to the circus and back.
Yeah.
And yet you met up at the same point where you might have been developing this neighborhood for hundreds of years. Mordecai just went out to the wilderness, spent a day working with them, and then came back.
Had his memory erased before that.
Well, details.
If you don't remember it, does it really count as your experience?
Well, he remembers it now.
Well,
Fixed its memory.
okay, fine. And don't even forget the however many thousands of years it took me to literally turn to dust.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to kind of dry rot for a while there. But you got to experience it.
That must have sucked.
So yes, you are in this parlor. Now, broadly, DM to player, DJ is going to serve you food if you want it, or drink if you want it. And he can get you pretty much anything you want from anywhere. You want wines from Uct? You want like a nice banana rum? It's almost syrupy. You can get that. Do you want a really strong, like a dragonborn, juice drink or something? Or do you want just like spring water from a rare oasis in the Aslandian desert? So everything that's being offered is, what do you want from where?
DJ, did you say you had Uct rum?
Yes.
Where did you get it? Are there still gnomes making and selling it?
No.
Then where did you get it?
We got it off one of the ships that was eaten. They must have had a store of it.
Oh.
You mean Uct is gone.
It's still there, but the jungle is dominated by an enormous tree made of flesh, rising 100 feet above the tallest one in the jungle. As far as anyone's aware, any of the gnomes that live there are gone, consumed by it. There was an exodus.
Ah!
Many had fled north through Fallfire, or were trying to make their way west.
Mordecai just looks to Bright.
Yeah. That's what I was afraid of.
I'm sorry, that's why I spoke with some pride that we were able to offer an Ucton banana. It's not that they don't grow there, but it's very difficult to get. Our mobility has allowed us to continue to do that. In an interesting point... Sorry, I'm not mooing as much as I should, but, throw that in there mentally.
Okay, yeah.
An interesting
in the
point,
moods.
we seem to be able to navigate around that area unmolested. It seems to take no notice of us.
Because Selter's undead?
Guess there's a thing that consumes everything.
In fact, it would seem that this flesh actually abhors the undead.
No, it's...
No, it's Shonaruth in nature.
Mm-hmm.
That was Jade's nature. Jade was a person who was under the pact of Shonaruth. She abhorred undead and fae. And if she had survived long enough for us to all to go to hell, then would have likely hated demons too.
Well, we ended up hating demons anyway. I mean, look at Mercury.
So you said some of them fled west?
1 second. Okay.
Some of them also got impaled by that spear-headed creature.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
we
were
did
fleeing
find
west.
names.
Ultimately,
Mesomask
perhaps
probably just
to Lacuna.
Lacuna and Mesamasker have probably received a massive influx of gnomes as of late.
Yeah, but there were none in Mesamaska. They had all left. Ahead of the Shadowheart. Maybe there's some in Lacuna.
Maybe.
I've never been to Lacuna. It wasn't on my route.
Well, there might be some there. It's
first thing we need to do, however, is figure out how to deal with this Sky Shadow Leviathan. It's a creation of Chernarith, maybe using the Repentless's transmutability, we might be able to make some kind of weapon to combat it.
The only thing that affects anything of that nature is magic that Noralai wields.
Yeah, wild magic. And I used to be able to do wild magic, but now, point of fact, we don't still have, like, all of Noralai's bones went back into Noralai, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Unless suddenly you got a wobbly space in your shin or something, Noralai. Like, whoop.
I mean, I was just thinking, I mean, if the professor's doing without an arm, maybe we could,
No.
A little morbid.
You can avoid a few ribs.
That does
Yeah.
remind me, though.
That's why
DJ,
they're
was
called
it?
spare ribs. You could do without them. And you could wear much nicer corsets.
Yes.
I guess
DJ,
not.
was it?
What's that? Say it again.
DJ, was it?
Yes, DJ.
If it wouldn't be too much trouble, I'd like my arm back. I'm already committed to helping take out the Sky Shadow Leviathan. So, Captain, if you can hear me, and I know that you can, you have my support.
I'll see what I can do for you in that regard. We have a collection of scrolls that might be able to help you. Do you need
Whatever will
anything
help.
else before I go?
I'd like a stiff drink.
Very well.
Some protein sounds nice, actually.
Oh, you wanted you wanted protein. I've become
Yeah.
quite adept at cooking Shadahari food.
I just realized I'm hungry.
Ah!
Yeah, and not for blood.
Grrr.
And not for blood at the first time in how long?
That's new.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe this would be a good time for the Uctian rum.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the first time Mordecai's eaten in,
Months.
I don't know, months, and it's the first time I've
2
eaten in several thousand years. So, I guess it's a special occasion, and we are all back together. Noralai's back. That's pretty nice. So, I think it's just
Yeah,
the
no,
right
not
kind
enough
of
to drink.
occasion.
Mm.
No, you're not, but it's
Yes, I
okay.
am.
We make an exception.
All right. Yeah, he'll come back and he'll bring that nice syrupy banana rum, and some other things. A steaming hot plate of protein, as the Shadahar call it. Which for all of you out in the audience, if you're not familiar, protein is potatoes, gravy, and cheese curds. So he will he'll serve, he'll sit and talk as you eat. You can ask him questions if you wish, and we will to invoke what we had talked about during the break here. DJ, through the conversation, and again, you can ask specific questions, but in his, well, you might ask him, well, how did you come aboard? How did you do all this? His brief story is that he was going around and he was still finding items, like Shadahar items and burial mounds, and he was trying to, collect a lot of different things, and he did just that after you all had parted ways after the waterfall incident. And over the course of time, he ended up realizing that there was a buyer for his wares. Ended up meeting Selter, and he didn't really have a place to go. He had a knack for finding these items. It worked out well for both of them, and so he signed on. As far as any of you are concerned, he does not appear to be under any sort of forced, compelled labor. He doesn't have a crown of madness swirling through his, swirling through his scalp. He doesn't have a weird eyeball bulge under his neck or anything. He actually seems happy. This has helped him compose a lot of music. He can even sing you a song that he's made about, what's life like here. Probably like the anthem of the repentless or something. And he's happy, and his opinion of Selter is he wishes that she'd do things differently, but ultimately he sees the justification in all of the destruction that has been caused. And so while she talked about having this personal vengeance against another Dragonborn family, because Selter among the Dragonborn was a standout woman. She was not Dragonborn. She was a dragon. She was very stern about that point. She had these aspirations. She had this strong presence. And so it turned out that when she had the ability to do so, this family was gobbled up. Though, as it turns out, that family was also doing some not good things in society as well. Beyond just, slighting her when she was a child, her family actually had very corrupt ties and was... So while it wasn't necessarily asked for, a good result came about because of the destruction of that family. And in DJ's mindset, yeah, maybe not everyone had to get absorbed into the ship, but it is what it is. And he likes finding stuff out. He sniffs out treasure and lore. Oh yeah, it was rumored that this was once a dragon's hill way back in prehistory or whatever. And so he's been useful to Selter as kind of a guide, just as someone who can also entertain her. He says that there's certain songs that he's not asked to stop singing. So that might mean that she likes it. It's just that, he's never asked to shut up when he does. So, he has a mixed opinion, which is favorable if you give her a chance, kind of a thing, kind of a wink. But ultimately, it will be up to you all. He is going to take you on more of a tour than I have pictures for, but you're going to get to know where the bathrooms are, because there is actually indoor plumbing here. She's not a savage. I mean, she might just, spit acid on people and kind of drink them up afterwards, but, I mean, you need privacy, you need to be clean. So he'll show you where the facilities are. If you want to go into the stores of various food or drink, they're there. And he'll show you to each of the rooms that have been freshly created for you. The rooms themselves are bare, because he doesn't know, they're her colors, but if you want accoutrements, you'll have to decorate yourself or earn them or do something that you want to customize your room. However, it's a nice room. They have very large, soft beds here. I mean, in a sense, this is almost like it's minimalistic, but she's still, really providing. She's really trying to show off. I'll show them, I'll get them. By giving them the biggest, softest bed they've ever experienced, they'll witness my power. And,
ironically, that is probably everything she does is out of spite.
Yeah.
Why? Because I have the best. You don't have the best. You have to come to me to have the best.
Yeah. I'll provide you the clearest, most pure imported glacial water, and you'll drink it and like it.
You fiend.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just... Oh, no. No, alright, I guess I'll abide by your will, Selter. More, ma'am. May I have another? So yeah, there is... Everything just has this, like, underlying savageness to it, but it's all really nice. But yeah, if you want to personalize it, unfortunately, Hell was able to read your intentions, your desires. It's sort of fed off of your own emotions. Selter has her own, and she's giving you that. And if you want to work with it, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want with it for however long you stay. There's not necessarily been any sort of agreement. But so far, walls aren't dripping with blood, ribs aren't, tickling your feet, crossing the threshold. And you even have DJ, who's a very happy Minotaur butler to, show you around. But yes, so you're going to get the tour here. Now, this is an opportunity, as we were talking about during the break, but for all of you out there watching, because in a sense, there are some tutorial aspects. The things that we do maybe are things that you want to do in your own games. As we have Derek this evening, this is an opportunity for the characters not just the players, but like as through their characters, to interact with him playing Selter, because there may have been unspoken words or things that further questions, but perhaps in the privacy of their rooms, as she is ever present. Which, by the way, if any of you remember the desert, she was present right outside that tent too. So, she's always watching and always listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be fair, that was
No
probably the best
privacy.
example of reverse psychology to stop a guard from peeping into a tent you have ever seen.
Because, and that was when Celine finally admitted she liked Mordecai.
Yes.
So.
Those desert episodes are on YouTube, everyone. I mean, go back in time a little bit and find them and enjoy them.
What episodes? In the 30s and 40s?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
We're now 102 in.
My God.
So what I will do is I want to respect our guests' time tonight, and I mean, who may have the most to say to Selters? Probably Mordecai. So is it okay if we go last and give the others who might not have as much to say? I'm not going to presume what you're going to say, but just in case.
Yeah.
Okay.
I may have to vanish soon after the top of the hour anyway to get set up, because I haven't tried setting up the seeds and stuff and keep talking and nobody explodes tonight. So
Okay. Sure, Professor. I mean, you are new to the entity of Selter. Not that you don't know about Dragonborn or anything, but this is certainly a rare breed.
Selter
So
as Selter is, yeah.
We can set the scene where you are in your appointed room, and if you have any questions or comments you wanted to run past, Selter, and if she deigns to answer you, why don't we, if there's a couple burning things, because we can always if you want to send side messages or over time things might come to light, but if there's a couple let's plant some seeds of something, this is your time to do it.
Yes, well, Cypher does have a couple of questions for Selter regarding what happened in the Aslandian desert. Because he wasn't there for all of that. He came in much, much, much later. And he kind of wants to get the lay of the land as far as Selter's animosity towards Mordecai is concerned. From what he has heard from Selter at the moment, however, he's not in disagreement about her animosity. If Cypher was in Selter's position, he would very much feel the same about Mordecai. And so it'd probably also be quite a bit of plotting about... We have this Leviathan to take down. There's wild magic, which we have no idea whether it's going to work. And we can also try the old Shadahari magic, which is something I can more actively do. So, if Zelta was to come and intrude, she would most likely find Cypher at this point drafting up some of the secret geometries required maybe to enhance a siege weapon of some kind.
Okay.
You're pretty sure you never end up hearing the door open. Maybe it never needed to. But when you're sitting at that small writing desk, you might end up getting a smell of something. It's almost like a little bit of a miasma. And a warmth. Very uncommon for what you presume is undead. Maybe it's the smoke. Maybe it's the heat of the living entity that is the Repentless itself. You can see her mawing the horns just out the corner of your eye. Well, ain't you just a little bit of a busybody?
Well, I told you you had my support, and so I'm drafting up plans to figure out how to take this thing down.
No.
Because,
She places uncomfortably a pair of hands on your shoulders. You can feel the pressure of something gripping you, but it's not like there's any weight to it. Almost like she's rubbing your shoulders. You work too hard, dog.
if I was still in my older age, I would agree, but given the nature of my remanifestation, and you would see Sultan that he actually looks quite young, maybe in his mid-20s. And he's talking about being old.
Well, ain't that just a pity? You have such a mind to you. I might end up finding that a little bit attractive. But what you got drafting up here? Siege weaponry. It wouldn't be hard to get your hands on. I think we got some down below. They try and stop us, but, much like this little abode that you're resting in, it's nothing more than a crater of a missing tavern, or for them, a missing armory. There's literally nothing I can't take, and what I can't perplexes and irritates me.
I figured that. But no, this is less for the siege weaponry itself and more for some enhancements that might make some siege weaponry do some actual damage against this Leviathan.
How so?
As a, professor, I've done quite a bit of research into the nature of what Schoneruth is, and through my travels with Mordecai, I've learned quite a bit. To be frank with you, it and its ilk are not of this world. And as such, you need otherworldly powers to deal with it.
Well, I guess then you gotta wonder which one you're swinging for.
Well, one such power is wild magic. A kind of ever-present defense.
You're talking about Norlai.
Oh, not just Norlai. the flowers of the north of Mesamaska, among other things. Given my research, I've come to the conclusion that wild magic, this phenomenon we call wild magic, is some kind of planetary defense system against things that would pervade it. Unnatural things, things that don't come from it, foreign entities. Like how one's immune system might purge diseases from one's body.
Is that what you're trying to end up doing, Doc? Is that the prescription?
For Schoneruth, most likely. Or at the very least, for the way that it pervades. I mean, the massive flesh tree in Oct. The spoiler flesh tree that the late Celine wrote about in her journal in Mesamaska. The Leviathan, and I'm sure the many things that pervade my homeland of the Four Fire Plains, including, but not limited to, that dark star that fell from the sky so long ago.
Well, thing of the matter is, Doc, that if that's all true, seems like you got this well and figured out. So what are you gonna do? Use flower power?
No, I'm thinking of trying something much different.
Pedal launcher, maybe? That would actually be pretty funny. Peddler launcher. Find anybody who's asking you for loose change and put them in a cannon.
No, I'm going to banish it.
Man, that shit.
Yes, I'm going to banish it. I'm going to banish it outside the realm of space and time itself. I'm going to remove it from existence.
There's quite a few assumptions you're making on that, but I'm kind of curious.
Well, it's hypothetical. I don't know whether it'll work or not. But, and he holds up his gauntleted arm, and he opens his palm, and you would see floating in his palm is a small orb, maybe not even an inch diameter. And it's just black. It's like there's a hole. There's no light, there's no sound, there's nothing. It's just a hole. Before he closes his palm, and as quickly as it was there, it disappears.
Okay, fancy. What's that all about?
As I said, I intend to do that, but on a much larger scale to this thing.
And they call me Wick.
Banish it to a place where nothing will find it, nothing will touch it. Banish it to a place where there is nothing.
Well, with it out of the way, I can proceed as I so choose. Do I understand this correctly?
You could, yes.
Well,
Although I would point out that whilst I know you have your own agenda, this Sky Shadow Leviathan, I'm sure, is not the first and certainly won't be the last of Schoneruth's little tricks. His presence should concern you.
honestly, I haven't heard that name since Well, myself and your group parted company, of which I once considered myself a member. You ever worry? And once you outlive your usefulness, they'll end up tossing you aside, just like everyone else. I'm sure you must have seen it.
Oh, I did. I have. But
And you're comfortable with that?
no. But I have a solution. You see, the magic that I possess is possessed only by those of the Shadowhar Empire's royal bloodline.
Of which you count yourself among. I have
With it,
royalty in my hull.
with it in my possession, I have a claim to the throne of the Shadowhar Empire. If they were to attempt to cast me aside, I would have no qualms with exercising that claim to the throne. I'm sure the child emperor of the Shadowhar Empire would be very wise to take on an advisor who knows the ways of his bloodline's magic. Wouldn't you say?
And I can see a lot of gold coming my way. If a particular advisor were to have the right friends backing him.
You're not incorrect.
You know, tempt me with your wares. It makes me all warm and fuzzy inside.
Well, we'll see. It'll be a matter of whether Mordecai is as Mordecai does, or whether his experience in hell has taught him a few things.
Well, you spent some time looking at this. She kind of takes the pages and flicks them across the desk playfully. So you spent some time in hell. You need to then understand the kinds of heavens I can show you. She probably, without much issue, it's literally hoisting you up by your shoulders out of the chair.
Yeah, probably.
She tosses you on the bed. You know, it's been a long time. I have such sights to show you. I'm like a man who's good with his hands. And it's at that point you'd feel the sheets start to wrap around the stump of your hip, arm. And this is getting really, really awkward. The kind of thing you don't normally expect from something that's an ethereal specter.
Yep.
But you've never dealt with you've never dealt with Celta before. And Celta goes by one rule. What she wants, she gets.
She gets.
So,
I, as a player, know this.
but you will find that you have your arm. It is somewhere buried in the sheets. It's fantastic. You can feel the sheets. You can feel the sheets. You can feel everything. And oh dear God, you can't move your arms. You can't move your arms. And there's this horrific smile. I think that would be a good place to cut to black.
Yep. Let's see. Time. Okay. It is, however, upon that note that I must away to go and build the scenes that required for tonight and get everything working.
Well, I figured you had to end up here in bailing soon, so you might
I'm sad
appreciate
that
that.
Cypher can't dig into Mordecai right now.
Yeah. The professor's sacrifice will be honored.
Oh, don't worry.
A
Don't
price
worry,
has been
Don't worry,
paid.
Mordecai. You're gonna be getting roasted by Cypher because you can't take responsibility for your mistakes. Don't go. I didn't have a choice. You go. I'm sorry, and that's it. Also, you have to bear the Celine's mistakes because she's dead and you were her partner.
Yeah.
Rip and pepperoni for you, Mordecai. Now, on that bombshell, it is time for me to leave. I will catch you guys when I catch you on the various different streams. But I must arm a few bombs.
You made the actual player fade to black here, Derek. That's pretty good here.
Well, let's hope it's not death by snoo snoo.
Yeah.
Oh, I would hope not.
Which is a real possibility at this point. Better roll constitution checks.
Don't make me ask for him. We saw what happened last time. He ended up getting acid
Oh,
washed
God,
and
please
lost
no.
his arm.
No. I'm good for no constitution saves, please and thank you. I'm gonna jump off. I will catch you guys later.
Norlai, what if anything might you have to say if you're, I don't know if you call out to Selter. You were given that invitation like, hey, if you want to talk, I'm always around.
She doesn't really know Silter.
Oh, but she knows enough to want to talk to you, little honey dumpling.
Oh, yeah, and she might just force manifest too. So, what are you doing in your room, Norlai, at X point in time?
Sorry, I'm tired.
It's okay if you need to
Probably
fade to
just-
black too. That's why I want to go through this. And
Yeah, she's probably just, resting.
okay,
She's been in a big electrical machine for who knows how long. She hasn't had a nice bed. So
okay,
that's all I can really do right now.
sure. You flop down. This is just an excruciatingly soft bed.
Mhm.
Okay, Selter, are you going to manifest somewhere?
Yeah, probably sitting in a nearby chair, maybe at the foot of the bed.
Okay.
Kind of just look over this weird thing. So fragile. Well, eventually she pops up. Funny thing is I'm getting this strange feeling like you're the linchpin to every plan everybody has around here. Funny about
Yeah,
that.
it's kind of weird.
Makes you a hot commodity, doesn't it?
I guess so.
But what do you think? You see, I've known what Mordecai is capable of. And the way the professor ends up talking about you, I ended up having to end up asking you, little dumpling. Did you ever have a say in all this? Because, near as I can tell, they're planning to use you like a spear, huck you off near towards whatever the hell this thing is. Hope it lands a killing blow and call it a night. And maybe they're gonna pump your ego up by saying you're some kind of hero. Look, you're the only one who can do it. The reality is at that point, you're just a thing to them, aren't you? Kind of curious how you handle that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it has a connection to Shonuth, then I probably want to do something about it because of my brother, but
Well, your connection. I ate my brothers and sisters. It's kind of what we do.
I don't think I could do that.
Well,
I bet my brother would get me indigestion.
it's while you're still a wormling, you see. The runts get eaten.
Well, my brother's older than me, so I guess I would be the runt.
Yet he didn't eat you. Can't be that strong now, can he?
I don't know. I don't think tieflings do that.
You don't think, like you don't know?
Well, I grew up a noble tiefling, so you know we were really proper and all that.
Oh, a lady of the house. How glorious. But aren't you concerned that they'll never see you as such? You're just an arrow in a quiver, waiting to be notched, drawn back, strung along, and let go at the near clearest opportunity. It's just a bit of girl talk I thought we would like to end up having. But I can see you tired, so rest your pretty spiky little head. After all, the sheets are proper silk, bed of the plumpest feathers, and a night as peaceful as the grave.
Remind me of home.
Well, maybe you should consider that, dearest little thing. Consider what you actually want, rather than what they want. Don't let them make you a tip of the spear, honey. They will use you until they don't need you anymore. And you need to consider that. If you're comfortable with that, trust me, there are plenty of users out there. But a noble lady such as yourself should never experience such hardship. Just food for thought.
I'm gonna sleep now. It was good talk, though. Maybe we can talk in the morning.
Maybe. Maybe. She kind of stands up, starts walking into the corner of the room, walking in amongst the blinds as though it were a door. For a moment they waft, as though a wind went through the window. And then nothing. I think we need to go chicken nugget.
Yeah.
Lorelai is asleep, and her player is also going to go to sleep.
Yep. Have a good night. Talk to you
care.
later.
So Salter is picking us off one by one.
Yes.
Okay, good night.
Where's Bright in her room?
That's a good question. Actually, I don't really know.
You be making
She probably-
coffee, sitting on a.
No, she'd probably be studying.
Okay.
Anything that she has available to study. She had a lot of study materials, but I think she lost them all in hell. So
Yeah.
probably she's trying to decipher the spells that she got from her Brighty Snatcher.
Oh yeah, totally. You haven't figured him out yet. It's okay. I'm sure you'll get him for next week. All right, sure. So you're sitting at the desk, very comfortable cushion. You're over here in this little bay window, and what and where, or I don't know, Bright. Do you want to initiate contact with Selter, or
No, not really.
no? Okay, Selter, how do you insinuate yourself onto Bright?
I figure this time I'd end up. Maybe I'm mirroring myself. Same way I'm doing in the next room as I'm currently having a conversation with Norlai right now and having a little bit of fun with the professor. Nice part about being part of the ship. You can be in more places than one. She ends up near making her presence known, standing near the foot of the bed. You know, I always did end up telling you that I'd end up eating you one day, chicken nugget.
Yeah, but it wasn't really you, it was the ship.
What do you makes you think there's a difference now?
Well, because, see, I can do this to the ship and I rap on the wall with my knuckles. But if I do it to you, poof, poof, poof.
That's funny. Nice part is I can end up doing the same thing. And I rap on the ship, and it makes a noise. And if I did that to you, I can also make it go poof, poof, poof. Thankfully, I'm not at a point where we can end up enjoying ourselves in that manner just yet. Tell me, did what you hear disturb you at all? You might be one of the last running around.
Well, I've had a long time to get used to that.
Hmm.
Thousands of years, really. That's why I wanted to stay in hell, because I had a home there and I don't have one here. But Mordecai needed me, and he really was the one that brought me back.
It was the one that brought you back. Fancy that. So you left home twice.
Yeah, it's a thing with me.
Maybe you're not supposed to have a home.
I've I've considered that. Not everyone does. Some people are just wanderers.
Wandering or running? Once I eat
Wandering.
the there ain't much choice one way or the other. Oh, not much to split hairs about.
I'm sorry it cut out for a minute.
Don't you worry your pretty little head, chicken nugget. Well, I will end up saying this. I end up considering myself truly one of the last, the real dragons. I know I don't look it, but what have you run into that really understands or really holds true to what it is? In a world full of beings trying to play at something else, you're the only thing I think I've ever run into who, well, that's never really changed. All
It's funny.
smiles, pinks, and floofs.
Yeah. But you didn't really know me in hell, though I did still have the floofs.
Maybe not. See, I'm never gonna go there, much as Mordecai might wish it. But I was kind of curious on what decisions did you come to, or more, what, what answer come to, realizing you might be the last. Thousands of years, long time to think on a topic, and I've no doubt it's been on the back burner for quite some time.
Yeah. I don't want to be the last, but I don't think I'm the last gnome. I know there's rock gnomes up in the northwest, and we're really pretty much the same. It's really more of a cultural thing than anything else. So even if they've been conquered by the Shadowhar, I know they still survive. And the great thing about gnomes is we're pretty hard to find when we don't want to be found. So maybe there's still a settlement somewhere in Uct or near Uct in Fallfire where the tree hasn't found us yet. We'll just have to see. But if there's not, then I'm just the last one, and that's just something I have to live with. But I can't really think that way because the whole reason that I set out was because I didn't want everyone to die. So if everyone died anyway, that would be a disappointment. I'd be pretty sad.
You'd be sad, but not heartbroken.
I don't know what the difference is. I'd just be sad.
Sad is something you get over, chicken nugget. Sad is something you can deal with. Heartbroken, though, well, that'll scar you for life.
Well, funny thing about life is it comes and goes. A lot of us have been alive, and then we've been dead, and then we've been alive again, and in some cases we've gone back and forth a couple of times. So, scarred for life, I could get over that.
And doesn't that just make you more detached from it all?
I was pretty detached. I was detached from home. I was detached from my friends. I was detached from most of my body. And I just kind of, I mean, I've lived, I don't even know how many years. Thousands, tens of thousands, I don't even know. It really changes your perspective on things. And then to come back home, or close to home, I don't know. I'm still reintegrating myself. So I don't know how I'm going to feel.
Well, ain't that just tough questions then? Well, you just enjoy your night in silks and luxury. Try and end up making the most of it.
They are pretty nice. I really do like this bed. It's nice and soft. One of the softest ones, actually. Well, maybe the second softest that I've been in recently.
Where's the softest?
You know the Flowerfield family, Ripple Flowerfield. He had some softer ones.
You can kind of hear like the ship itself seems to be shifting a bit, as though it's not sure where it's supposed to be going. Where it's conflicted between two destinations. I'll keep that in mind, chicken nugget. Have a good night. And
Yeah.
unlike every other time, Stelter is upset enough to actually start walking towards the doors, though she completely forgot she can mold it to any portion of the ship at any given time. She's just too focused on the fact that she does not have the most comfortable beds in this ship. This is bugging her. It's bugging her a lot. But, of course, to calm herself down, she has to be poking fun at somebody. As she starts to leave, she starts to sing to herself. Oh, I ain't got nobody.
Oh, goodness. All right, Bright, you are left alone to go back to study and possibly to smirk to yourself at what you just did. I hope that you enjoyed that. Now,
I'm a big fan of Let's You and Him Fight.
we come full circle, everyone. Mordecai, you are in your room. Where are you? What are you doing?
He's not sure if any of this is a trap or if this is all of this just makes him uncomfortable.
Okay.
And so he's probably set his shield and his staff in a chair against the wall.
Okay.
Because he carries a staff now. And just kind of spending some time just looking himself over and how he's manifested, because he hasn't really had a chance to take it all in yet. He's changed. He knows he has. It feels right, the changes that have been made. Feels natural. But he still hasn't learned it all yet.
There's a mirror in your room. Would you be looking in the mirror at yourself, like checking your teeth or something, or are you like sitting on the edge of the bed, reflecting on your staff and your shield and all that?
Good
He's
question.
probably passed by the mirror and noticed the black streak of hair coming out of his temple. It's straight. It's not curly.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about where that might have come from. What was on his mind when that happened? Kind of reflecting on the transformation itself. Kind of looking at his hands. Most everything else seems the same. His armor feels heavier. And where in the world did he get that shield? It's circling fireballs around a skull. It's all weird.
Imagine it's at this point you might end up feeling something tug at the sheets, and Self is laying in bed, just kind of dragging her talon across the sheets in this suggestive manner. Oh, now you just thinking about little old her already.
I think
Brings
about her a
back
lot.
memories.
You instigated that, you know.
You might have noticed I'm really good at that. That's what I do. I see something, I take it. You know, I can almost forgive you for dumping acid on me. I really could. You know, that part actually ain't the thing that really gets my goat. Nah. You know what got my goat most, Mordecai? You ended up spending away from party and away from soul. A little slice of heaven. Hell, you ended up getting into being more alive than most men will ever know, with someone who ends up studying the dead. You could have had all kinds of fun, ran off, and ended up having a whole bunch of screwed up children together. And they would have been as ugly as the two of you combined, and you both would have been happy.
She would have settled.
You had it all, Mordecai. That's what pisses me off. You had it all. You end up getting some of the best leaf that you can smoke from. You can have any position you would have wanted. You were like a god to them. You end up having her at your side as your queen. She was the best for what they ended up doing. You could have had it all and you threw it away. I'm not sure what kind of a dumb son of a bitch that you are. But you have to be. You threw it away.
Maybe I'm crazy.
No. See, crazy operates on a under a very specific set of rules. We don't see the rules always. We're just presuming the rules, and where we make the mistake is that they were assuming the rules that we follow are the same as theirs. But there are rules. You just, in order to do what you did, just requires sheer and utter stupidity. And if it weren't for that stupidity, the things wouldn't have happened. What was so special about her, huh? Why you have eyes for her?
I didn't think much of it at first.
Well, that part was obvious because that required thinking in the first place.
She was, at first, a bandage to cover a wound.
Started as a bandage, ended up as a sock. Okay, I get it.
No, she was more than that. She gave me life again. She helped me see. She helped me see that running away wouldn't have solved anything. I would have just been running. Running and running and running until my legs gave out and I finally keeled over and wasted away. It wasn't until after I died that I truly lived. Not since Corinna died.
You think you mentioned her, right? Your luck with women sucks. It's one of the reasons why I never tried to bed you.
Fuck you.
Not now, sweetheart. No, right now I'm still on this side of the grave. Besides, that's not what you're really angry about.
How would you know? You don't know me.
Don't, huh? I don't know you.
We've spent all of a month together, Seltzer. You don't know me.
I know that at this point. You ended up here spending night after night with her in a tent, trying to end up planning an escape. I remember, in fact, that a guard was showing up, about to peek in on your little operation, and good old Celta ended up helping you out. Specifically by grabbing him by the hair, telling him to bring reinforcements as she decided to break her vow of celibacy and was making up for long lost time. And at that point, you were threatening to expire. So I tried to end up shoving him into the tent when he realizes the intent of me making him lose his pants and then what was left of his manhood to a ravenous cleric. He ran off screaming into the night, in which case I told him, yeah, it's probably best to get reinforcements, which bought you the time in order to end up instigating your own plans. I know that you keep crying about her, a drop of a hat, and it makes you absolutely furious. I know that you are a dead thing that couldn't possibly understand the warmth of a real woman. Because let's be honest, she might have given you a body, but she didn't give you a heart. Not like you gave it to her. You gave her your soul, what's left of it at the time. Now you're chasing phantoms. You're hanging on to what was. Going, oh dear God, look what I've lost, never again. Because your past defines you. Always has. And you can't live in the moment. Because you're always thinking about what happened. What you're worried might happen. But the now, Now's the only thing you end up having, and you end up pissing it away. Don't tell me I don't know you, Mordecai. I've seen everything. You're a repeating pattern because you know what? Men are simple. Once you know what they want and what they're about, well, I made it a point to know. Try and tell me I'm wrong, Mordecai. Go ahead. Is not one action you have said up until when you ended up talking to me right now has indicated anything other.
Yeah. My past defines me. You're right about that. But it defines me going forward.
But nothing exists in the night. You're existing on some of the most comfortable. No, I take that back. She says, as you might hear singing down the hall. The most comfortable sheets in the entirety of the region. I made sure of that. I have ended up. You have banquet of plenty. You have escaped the fiery depths of hell itself. You have a chance to celebrate with compatriots who one of them's about to get his arm back and lose something else. Well, my lips are sealed. And you are currently sitting here staring at your equipment rather than using your equipment because right now you end up literally having the pick between lonely haired Norton lie or confused near chicken nugget. You could be spending all night and they're really celebrating that you end up escaping because you might want to know what it's like to have a warm body against a warm body again. You have everything, Mordecai, and you piss it away and wonder why it is that the world seems to hate you. Maybe it's because everything that the world ever needed, everything it ever wanted, you had delivered, and you done thrown it away. That's why I hate you.
I don't need luxuries. Do you know what all of that doesn't guarantee? Love. Admiration is fleeting.
Yeah.
Wealth is fleeting.
But diamonds are forever.
Diamonds are always going to go away. They'll eventually reduce to dust. Do you know what doesn't die? The feelings you have for people. You don't care about a single soul except yourself. And if you truly did, you've calloused yourself so hard that nobody sees it. You're hiding, Selter. Hiding behind the wealth. Because what? You're a dragon? I've seen dragons. Much more majestic than yourself. Because they cared. You're pathetic. You're a sorry excuse for being. Because you can't see past the horde. And I pity you. Because there's so much more to this life than luxury. Celine helped me realize that. And you missed out.
I missed out on a corpse. See, your love died the second that she went away. Now you just got an
No.
echo of wanting of what once was. Say, oh, my heart will always believe how romantic makes fantastic for poetry. But you know what? Love is reciprocal. Reciprocal. And fact of the matter is there's nothing left to reciprocate. No one left to reciprocate. You end up talking about something that lasts forever. Guess what? It is forgotten like stories from long ago that we no longer recite anymore because it is gone.
What does that matter?
It makes all the difference.
No.
Because at the very least, for as selfish as I am, for as much as I might love myself, maybe you can only love another truly once you start to love yourself. And you, Mordecai, despise yourself. You want to believe you're good. You were good husband material, that you had the opportunity to end up marrying, that you had the love of your life. Oh, look at what I had. But you never loved yourself. Then how can you love others if you can't figure out how to cut yourself some? So fact of the matter is right now, what you need is the moral high ground to end up proving to yourself, to talk yourself into a position of, you know what, I might here be alone. I might be here sad and pathetic and I'm not running anymore. But fact is that you, my blue-haired wonder, are already without it. See, what scares you more than anything, what really scares you, I think, is at least I can be honest with myself. But can you look in the mirror and not think of her? Can you look in the mirror and really see the face of the person who loved her? Or do you see a person who ended up being responsible for all of this? Because I know the answer. You might say I've only known you a couple of weeks, but fact is despite the new getup, the new look, new fancy equipment, still the same old Mordecai who needs to look back in the past and say, oh, this is how it's been. Look to the future and saying, oh, how screwed we are, but not once ever end up listening to what is going on around you right now. See, at least I can be grateful for the fact that I can end up enjoying the splendor of wind beneath me, clouds among me, and the hunt. I can appreciate these things. You? I might not have a heartbeat anymore, but despite the fact that you smell warm-blooded, I'm wondering which one of us is real cold. Good night, Mordecai. Thought you might want to end up having something that you can cry into a sheet or, well, have a little bit of fun with yourself and then cry. She kind of head leans back. You can
Tell
see
her.
that she reverts
Mhm.
to a mist.
I don't need a ship to fly.
There is no response. Probably the weirdest thing. Seltzer not needing the last word.
Mordecai, presumably you're alone in your room?
I'm sure she's around. Who knows, maybe she's right. Maybe I don't think in the moment often enough. But somebody's got to look at the past so we learn. We have to learn from the past. I don't live in it anymore. Not truly. Not like I did. I'm not trying to escape. I let myself experience the things that I feel now. Even though they're from a decade ago. No, someone who lives so selfishly, without a care for another person. That's not truly living. That's existing. And existing isn't enough for me anymore. Never has been. Not since I met them. The Chroma Company. They're the reason I exist. I'd do anything for them. It's going to take some getting used to. But I feel like I'm finally myself. Finally free.
Well, I suppose we'll see where that freedom takes you. You have your life, you have memories, you have a lot going for you. And I think this is a good place to leave us all wondering after this exchange. We started off this session with going over, the classics. Race, class, we rolled up some magic items. Important things to D&D. And by the end of this session, I think we were getting a really, really deep peek at who each of the characters really are. And I wonder if they really truly have changed in any particular fashion. And I'll tell you, especially, and for all of you out there watching, this was not contrived in any way. But to me, as someone who enjoys acting and reading and all of this, the exchange that just took place was beautiful and intense. And I love that it takes this dark black mirror to reflect Chroma Company's true colors. Of the vibrant blues and purples and pinks and the greens and the tans and everything that we've had before. Tonight, I think, was one of the purest, truest reflections of the characters that we've had. And it has come from a dark monster who's also a thinking, feeling person. But still, Chroma Company being defined by someone who lacks chroma. I don't know. It's kind of bittersweet beauty to me. And hopefully you all really enjoyed tonight's session. It was really intense, and I think that if we can keep this up, I mean, we had laughs, we had some classic D&D stuff and table talk, and the way that this concluded tonight, man, I'm satisfied. Unfortunately, I don't have things like best scene or best line or the other things that the storytellers for Vampire here in World of Darkness give out at the end. I guess I can give out some inspiration, and I think I'm going to do that because tonight was really well done by everyone. And I am stoked to get this arc fully underway. So we will get things wrapped up for tonight as the players, I don't know if they want to talk a little bit and cool down themselves. I certainly wouldn't mind doing so. Let's get a little bit of we'll go from a really intense time here and a really very in-depth role play. Let's go a little bit lighter. One of our community members here, Donnie Saro, is playing Stardew Valley. So there we go, everyone. We went from like clenching at the edge of your seat drama and let's go play a colorful farming sim. But you know what? Sometimes we need that cool off period to just like let it soak in everything that's happened and everything that's been said.
To be fair, you knew what you're getting into the second you asked.
I asked for every syllable. I absolutely did. And I'm gracious that you were able to spend some time with us, Derek. It may not always be possible, but man, it's a pleasure to have you. And maybe at least one other time, I might be able to convince you to come back and check in on us and see how we've carried things forward from starting out in episode 1 with us. 102 episodes. No, I guess 101. This is 102. But anyway, yep, we're gonna go cool off. Toolin and everyone, thank you very much. Eli, thank you for joining us. If you're learning English, I hope that this was helpful. You're welcome to join us, especially on Discord. And there might be some other Portuguese speakers. And we'll help you out as best as we can. Since role-playing is a really good way to do that. Anyway, be well all. I'll see you over in Donnie Saro's channel for some Stardew Valley. Bye.
So, mistress, I learned the training rod limits the kind of